live streaming, please. Go ahead.
Had a good practice today. A little warm out there. We went outside the halfway point and let both units go outside. It was about 92, 93 degrees, so unseasonably warm. But I thought the guys had good spirits. We did 3 or 4 periods against each other and had good competition. And I think both groups continue to improve. We got a difficult task this week. And the offense we got to defend, and also some neat things about their defense. So I'll open it up with that.
Talking about their defense a little bit, obviously we can all look at their stats, and they've given up a lot. What's their issues on defense? And you say they do some unique stuff.
Yeah, they move up front. They've always been a penetrating gap defense. They get in 4-3, and they've started to play a little more odd front, 3-4, and they do a lot of games up front, which allows them to get some tackles for loss. You know, they're 4th or something in the conference for tackle for loss. Do a good job creating negative plays by what they do. They've given up some plays in that exchange. I think they played their best game, I thought, against a good Kentucky football team the other night, and I know they'll be ready for us. They played us really well last year.
What have you thought of Andrew Thomas's play to this point?
He's a freshman out there playing in what I think is the toughest conference in the country, and he's holding up, he's holding his own. We had to put him in a lot of really tough positions. You know, we try to avoid that. Whether we cover him up or being able to run the ball helps with that. But he's mature beyond his years, and he's very understanding of how important practice is, which I think allows him to play well.
How beneficial is it to the run defense to have Nick and Sony to go against in practice?
Oh, it helps. I mean, it helps Nick, Sony, Holyfield. I mean, Brian, Swift, even Prather Hudson comes over. I mean, those guys roll down on the scout team and give us a great picture.
Kirby, do you guys have a pretty good level of buy-in from your wide receivers and tight ends to block on the perimeter to run the ball as well as you have?
Yeah, I think they do a great job. They're doing a much improved job this year as opposed to last year of understanding the importance of team, understanding the importance of team goals and team success. And I think a lot of that is our off-season program and our mindset training program from the summer to put the team above yourself. And, you know, I think that's just important. To winning is not number of catches, it's the value you get in team goals.
Coach, with Davin Bellamy and the club on his hand he's been playing with, how do you feel like he's adjusted to that? How does it make things different for him out there?
I think it frustrates him at times. He can't rip off and tear off like he wants to. He can't bull and push sometimes, but he's done a good job. I think he's gotten better with it this week. It was more frustrating for him last week. I think that's something you got to get used to, and he's starting to get more and more used to it. And I think he shows a lot of toughness to go out there and play with it and not let it really concern himself with how he looks. He's trying to help the team.
He's got to keep wearing it this week.
I'm not sure yet. I mean, he's got it on right now for practices and safety purposes, but as far as the game, we're not sure yet.
Coach, with Miko, he's had some drops in the last few games, but how important, is it for you guys offensively and because of what he brings to the table that you kind of keep pounding at him to get him through, you know, kind of the passes he's been dropping, and because of his ability to make plays the way he can?
You know, he's got to catch the ball. I mean, we're going to continue to throw it to him. We're not going to not throw it to him. I mean, I think Miko's a work in progress. He's getting better each week. He's doing a good job in the return game. Nobody said it was going to be easy. I mean, it's not natural for a guy that didn't play receiver his whole life to go play receiver. I know some of you guys in this room compare that to Terry Godwin. That's not true. Because Terry Godwin played receiver. I recruited him. Miko did not. And it makes it very different for him.
Is it with Miko? Is it purely hands catching, or is it getting in the position, the right position?
No, it's running routes. It's being comfortable catching the ball. It's just 10 and 15 years of not. That's not what he did his whole life. So he's developing. He's working hard at it. I think the guy's going to make a really good player. And to be honest with you, he's caught every ball we've thrown to him in the past couple of weeks in practice. It's not like he's got the drops. He just hadn't had an opportunity. He hadn't had an opportunity in a game really in a while.
Do you guys see it from him often, though, where he, you know, whether it's one of those kickoff returns where he's, you know, eyelash away from breaking it big, or plays in practice that he's just that ability he has is not something that very many guys have.
Yeah, he's got great speed. Great speed.
Going up against a quarterback in Drew Lock who is throwing like 30 passes a game, how does that alter your game planning and preparation, I guess?
Well, of those 30 passes a game, about 10 to 15 of those are runs that are passes. So your preparation is play the run, and you got to defend the pass on top of it. So it's really hard because they run the ball and throw the ball in the same play, which is tough. And he's got one of the quickest releases, strongest arms I've seen. He knows where to go with the ball. He knows who to stare down to read him. He's very efficient at doing what he does, and it's tough to defend because you think they're a passing offense, but they ultimately want to run the ball first.
The strength staff does those Thursday throwdown videos. Do you watch those, and what do you think when you see those?
Very entertaining. Probably I'm an observer just like you are because they kind of come out of right field. So I'm always intrigued to look and see what's going on.
You mentioned
I'm not part of production or anything.
you mentioned after the Vanderbilt game how they came down and gave everyone hugs.
Yeah.
How vital they just kind of giving this team energy? Seems like they're a really energetic bunch.
Yeah, I agree. They do a good job of doing that. They keep things upbeat, positive, get the players going, get the juices flowing. I think a lot of times your strength coach is the person that has the greatest relationship with the team because they're with them year round. I mean, literally. In the winter, they're with them. When we go spring recruiting, they're with them. When they're summer, they're with them. They're with them. They're always with them, and they get to be with them through thick and thin. So a lot of those kids respond well to the strength staff. And I think Scott and Sinclair and his staff do a tremendous job.
A few weeks removed, I guess, from the last time we talked to you about this, where's Mark Webb at in his transition to DB, and how are you guys feeling about that move?
He's growing. He's getting better. I mean, he goes out there every day, competes against the wideouts, does a really good job, and I think he's going to be a really fine player.
Tyler Clark's obviously had to take on a little bit of a bigger role with Trent Thompson's injury. Now that you have more time to see the tape from Vanderbilt, how do you feel about him?
He's doing a good job. He didn't play his best game. He got a little sick a couple days before the Vanderbilt game, and didn't have his best game. I thought he played really well against Tennessee. I thought he played really well against Mississippi State, but he didn't have his best game. But he's a player that's improving a lot. He's gotten a lot better from last year to this year.
On Saturday, you kind of talked about how y'all needed to develop your passing game a little more. How do you plan to manage that and adjust that this Saturday, especially if your run game is as successful as it has been the past few weeks?
Well, I don't think that you do that in games. I think that in a game you got to do what you got to do to win. You got to take what the defense gives you, and you got to take whatever advantages you get. I think you develop that through practices, and we've tried to do that the last several weeks. We want to grow the passing game. We want to get all the quarterbacks we got comfortable throwing it, receivers comfortable catching it, and we certainly got to improve our pass defense so that our guys get to go against it. So that's a practice issue more than a game issue.
Back to Andrew, you talked about his practice habits and how he knows it's important. Is that uncommon with freshmen, or usually do freshmen embrace those type of workouts even more?
I don't understand what you're saying. You're saying what workouts? Like practice?
Practice, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I won't say every freshman embraces it. Some of them just kind of, you have to push them through it, and they hit a wall. He hasn't hit that wall. I think the best, most mature guys do. I think the school he went to, Pace, prepares him for it. Coach Slade over there does a tremendous job preparing guys because he's done it at all levels. And I think Andrew is very well prepared. His high school coach, his O-line coach is a great coach. I mean, here's a kid who came in very well groomed for what we were about to do, and he's handled it really well.
When you've got a group of running backs like you do at Georgia, how do you convince a 17-year-old or high schooler that Georgia's still a place that they should come to?
You just turn on the tape of the last game and say, do you want to be one of those guys? Or do you want to be one of the guys that's pass pro and for everybody else in the country that's pass protected and they're throwing it? And they say, I want to be one of those guys. I want to carry the ball. I don't know how many times we carry it. 30? I don't even know. 30?
50.
50? Good gosh. That's a lot of carries. So that helps.
Kirby, last year with how Jamon Moore, how well he did against you guys, does that matchup been stressed with him and that rapport he has with Drew Lock?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. The other kid, 84 Hall, on the other side, had an unbelievable night the other night against Kentucky. And they dismissed one of their wide receivers a couple weeks ago, and these two guys have been electric. I think they're two of the best wideouts that we have seen. with the combination of a good passer. And he was one of the best wideouts we faced all last year, Jamon Moore, but the other kid was there, and he's lighting up this year. So it's not like you got one guy that's a good player. You got two, and they've got multiple guys that are really good wideouts, and a group of tight ends that are really big.
Kirby, how do you think Jacob's handling things where his head is now? Obviously, the season with the injury and now coming back it's not where he wanted it to be. Where do you think he is now?
I think he's doing a great job. I mean, he's very mature. He's handling things the right way. I mean, we talked to Jacob, and he's working really hard to get himself back in position, to be in position, given the opportunity, and I think he continues to grow with that. And I thought he had a really good practice today. I mean, the thing with him is he's got to stay in tune to it, and he's got to battle and fight, and he's done that.
I asked you about Sam Pittman the other day, and I wanted to ask too, when it comes to the young players, he's had a lot of young guys, kind of first-year guys, come through his group the past couple of years. What is it that makes him good at handling with those young guys and dealing with developing them and getting them ready to play?
Well, I think first of all, Sam Pittman's a teacher. He's compassionate. The players really love him. They want to play hard for him. He cares about them, and he teaches. I mean, he does a good job explaining things, teaching things, simplifying things down for players, and they enjoy playing for him. So he's had success with the guys playing early in their careers, and a lot of that has to do with his teaching methods.
Last question.
Any updates on Trenton and Reggie from yesterday in terms of their availability?
Not really, just hoping to get them back. We're able to do a little bit today, but hopefully we'll get them back.